Hi everyone, I'm Shaylin here with Reedsy. Today I've just got 5 super quick tips to help you if you are stuck in a writer's slump. Writing slumps, or whatever you want to call them, periods where you just feel like you can't get into writing, it's just not really working. They happen to everyone, they can happen all the time, they can be kind of minor, they can be super bad. So as someone who's dealt with my fair share of writing slumps, like I think pretty much any writer has, these are the 5 things that always help me every time I'm just in like a writing rut where it just feels like my writing isn't working. Tip number 1, find a tangible deadline. Not just a deadline that you choose for yourself, but something with actual stakes to it. As someone who writes a lot of short stories, I like to pick a contest deadline. So pick a short story contest that I want to enter and write the story to that deadline. That really motivates me to just get the thing done. If I'm just doing it on my own schedule, it's easy to put it off. Because a lot of the time what happens is sometimes your writing isn't going very well, so then you don't feel like writing, and so then you just keep not writing because the writing isn't going well. And a lot of the time, unfortunately, the best way to get back on track is kind of just to force yourself to write and actually do some writing. And sometimes you need something external to motivate you. And so for me, finding contest deadlines has been super helpful, and that has gotten me out of really bad writing slumps many times. It just kind of gives you this sense of external motivation, and it's not a flexible deadline, it's not an internal deadline, it just gives you this really clear milestone to work towards. Tip number 2, write a personal project. If you feel like your writing slump is due to things like feeling overwhelmed or dealing with external pressure or worrying your work isn't good enough or people won't like it, I would definitely recommend having a personal project that you can turn to for times like this. This is a book that you're just writing for yourself, you never intend to publish it, and maybe you're the only person who will ever read it. Think of it as just like your space to have fun, where the book will never be judged, and it's okay if it's a mess. I've had a personal project for about 1.5 years, and it's really changed my life, honestly, because in those times where I feel like I can't really get into writing my main project, I go and work on my personal project, and it just feels like suddenly all the weight is lifted off my shoulders. I don't worry about it being good because I'm just writing it for myself to have fun. So having a personal project, something that you can turn to during those times where you want to get back into writing, but you need something that essentially has no pressure whatsoever, a personal project is a great way to do that. Tip number 3, get someone to hype it up. If you're feeling kind of feeling not great about your project, give it to a trusted friend, and instead of asking for feedback, just say, I kind of need some encouragement on this. It's okay to ask people to read your work and just get them to hype it up for you a little bit. Sometimes that's what you need, and when the time comes that you need feedback, you can go to them or go to someone else for feedback. But if you're struggling with your writing, that's probably not what you need right now. What you would probably benefit from would be just having someone to encourage you to really hype up your book. So go to your most trusted reader, your critique partner, a close friend, whoever it is you trust to read work that maybe you're feeling a little off about. If you can't see the good in it, most definitely they can see the good in it. Tip number 4, edit something old. If you're struggling to draft, then try editing something instead. Pick up an old project that maybe you've been meaning to edit for a long time, but haven't. Editing uses a completely different part of your brain than writing does. At least that's what it feels like for me. It feels like a much more structural, logical process, whereas writing is more, creative and a bit fluffy and hard to pin down. Editing often for me feels a lot more clear cut. It's like, okay, I've already written the book, now I need to do this, and that will make it better. Editing is also a really satisfying process because you get to see something start to really take shape and become a final product. So if you're in a writing rut and you can't really get your draft to move, put the draft aside and edit something old instead. And finally, tip number 5, this is the one you don't want to hear, but unfortunately, it's usually the best, and it's to just write through it. I really wish this wasn't the way. I wish there was an easier way to get through writing slumps, but I can tell you that pretty much every single time I'm in a writing slump, what happens is writing isn't going well, I start to get discouraged, and so I don't write because I'm feeling discouraged. But as long as I'm not writing, the problem isn't fixing itself, right? The only way to get out of that writing slump and to start feeling better about my work is to sit down and write it and actually work through it, get past the point in the story that I'm not feeling great about, and get to a point where I'm feeling excited about the quality of the writing again. This is something that I continually have to remind myself every time I'm in a writing slump, which is that, kind of stewing in the writing slump doesn't do anything. Obviously, it can be very healthy to take breaks from your work, but I think if the motivation for taking a break is that you're just feeling kind of blah about it, that's not really going to fix itself as long as you're away from the book. In fact, you're just going to keep kind of stewing and wallowing in that feeling. Almost every single time I've been in a writing slump, the way to get out of it is just to keep writing. And it will be hard at first, but eventually something clicks and you regain that momentum. So that's all for this video. I would love to hear what you do when you're dealing with a writing slump. They're no fun, but they definitely happen to everyone. It's a very normal part of being a writer. So thank you so much for watching. Remember to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss any new videos from us. We've got new writing, editing, and publishing tips every Tuesday and Friday. Until next time, bye.